Semi-arid zones can sustain rain-fed agriculture though at low production levels. The low rainfall affects crop production. According to Rachel Musili, one of the lead scientists at the Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization KALRO in Katumani, farmers depend on their rain-fed crops' adaptability to unpredictable droughts and other stress factors for survival. With the support of Arid and Semi-Arid Lands Agricultural Productivity Research Project, Katumani agricultural researchers have been working with farmers in what they term as the participatory variety selection approach. This approach places farmers, who are the ultimate users of the technology, at the center of the variety development. In this two-part documentary, various events organized by the KALRO Katumani are covered. Part 1 will feature the previous events held in Laikipia County, and Part 2 will feature the previous events held in Makueni County. Laikipia is on the leeward sides of Mount Kenya, and farmers in this area grow legumes and cereals such as maize for food and income. These farmers moved in from other parts of the country and settled here. However, other than the climate, they face the additional challenges such as wildlife conflicts and identifying appropriate cash crops.
Tunaenda tukipunguza maneno ya mahindi na maharagwe, sababu upande wa mahindi tunaathiriwa sana na wanyama wa pori. Ndovu zinatutembelea mara mingi sana. Sasa tumeamua turudi upande wa maharagwe kwa sababu ni kilimo ya miezi chache, na baada ya kulima bado utapata ile nafaka ambayo utanunua naye mahindi.
My observation is that I feel beans will improve their livelihood because when you plant, actually to be affected by crop failure is not more than the one for maize. Maize is really affected by the climate. You find that when there is little rainfall, maize will go, but beans will still survive because beans go for only 3 months, whereas maize goes for about 4 and 5 months. So beans will do well.
In this particular place, we are dealing with the evolution of bean varieties for drought tolerance, and also we are evaluating another trial for beans that are rich in micronutrients. The main reason is that we are in an area that is called dry highlands. The called dry highlands, the variety of beans the farmers are using are not giving the required productivity. The issue of diseases, there is less moisture, and the beans are being the farmers are harvesting very low yield.
The Agricultural Productivity Research Project has shown the way out of breeder-centered variety development to a farmer-centered variety development. It is in this spirit that they organize the participatory variety selection, the previous events in Laikipia and Makueni counties. In the events, farmers were given the opportunity to choose the varieties they perceive to be good for them, applying their own criteria.
When scientists have been doing research, we have realized some of the varieties remain in the shelves and they are not adapted. Because as a scientist, we use our own criteria. We select varieties and then we give them to the farming community and to the stakeholders. So there was a change to be able to improve adaptability of varieties. There was a change to do what we call participatory variety selection. And this is where you bring farmers in the field. The farmers have their own criteria why they like a particular crop. And a particular, so then they're able to go through the various varieties and select what they think is their best variety according to their criteria. If now you select that variety that farmers have selected as per their criteria, the chances of that variety being adopted is much higher and being used by the farming community and also to the trading population.
A democratic process was adopted whereby farmers were given room to vote for either sorghum or bean varieties. Each farmer in the group was given a ribbon with the color of their preferred choice of the variety. After the elections, the scientists compiled, tallied, and delivered the results of this election.
Then we have only one man like this particular variety, And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then 7 men didn't like it.
Before the delivery of the results, farmers were given enumerators to collect their views and the criteria they used to select or reject a variety.
Na nyingi unakuta ya kwamba hii nyekundu wakati unapanda ina mazao mingi, tena inastahimili ile jua, maana kama huku kuna wakati mvua inanyesha alafu inazimika, unakuta huo mmea unastahili mpaka mvua irudi tena, na unakuta pia mazao yake inakuwa sawa.
Kweli ni kwamba ile maharagwe ambayo tunasema inafanya mzuri katika area hii ndio imefanya vibaya zaidi, na hiyo ni jambo ambayo nimeona ya kwamba kama hawangekuja sisi tungekuwa maskini na tungedharau ukulima kabisa. Lakini vile nimeona na hawa watu wa Karo, nimeona ya kwamba ni sisi hatupali ile the best variety, na kama tutapanda ile the best variety tutakuja kupendezwa na ukulima na tutafanya hiyo ni kazi yetu, tuifanye biashara yetu, tufanye kilimo biashara na tutapata pesa ya kujimudu katika mambo mengine. Kwa hivyo nimefurahi sana kwa sababu ya Karo, kwa sababu wamenionyesha kwamba ile variety nilikuwa nasema ndio ya mvua chache ndio haifanyi hata kidogo. Tena kuna magonjwa ya hapa na pale, insect tena ni mingi, na sisi hatuko tunajua maneno ya kupiga dawa mimea yetu, kunyunyizia dawa mimea yetu. Lakini sasa tumeona ya kwamba kama tutafanya ile ukulima ambao unastahili, ukulima ni kitu kizuri.
The results were presented to the farmers in a plenary meeting.
Udirarigwo kana ni ume kana iki ate kana ni ikare bado iki riu ni gucha
no nginyanagia mboco iria tureciria andu ni mahandaga ri ugaciringirithanagia na iria cieho no ru mboco ici nathari no ri tucitaga nathari ithui ungithie kugura mutu wa mbembe nduka-ini ri kana wa ngano ri ni ukuona maandici makoragwo mandikitwo biofortified. Thirikari yerire kambuni ciothe ithondekaga mutu wa mbembe na wa ngano mongere nyamu cietagwo viritubistic imwe ndo icio of micronutrients. In 2012 the government through an act of parliament changed the rules so that all millers doing farm can be able to biofortify them with micronutrients. The main issue is that people in cities and towns will be able to buy flour that is fortified. But when you come to the rural areas, people will get the maize from their shamba, go to the mill it, and come back and cook. That maize flour will not have any micronutrients. So to be able to assist the rural populations, we have started evaluating bean varieties that have high levels of zinc and high levels of iron. So we evaluate here so that we get a good variety that is working. Then the farmers will be able to have bean varieties with high micronutrient levels, and as they do their cooking and feed, then they will have a meal that is nutritively better.
What happens to crop varieties not selected and yet the breeder believes have trait they desire?
What would happen if that trait is required and it's useful? You go back to the crossing program and you look for the parents and cross to get the trait you want and the trait the farmers want. So that as much as possible in a new variety, you incorporate the traits that the farmers require or what the market requires, because the market is the driving force. So you try to improve all the varieties you have to the traits that the market require. And the market is the farmer, the traders, and the consumers. That become the market.
Breeding can no longer be left to science and scientists alone. The farmer has a huge role to play. The agricultural productivity research scientists have made their point. In which direction is the general research, especially plant breeding, going?
The Asaroi PRP project has really helped in us trying to get a variety for the beans. And going forward, we're also expecting to have a lot of support, because when we have a new variety and it's working and it can improve the livelihood of farmers, we will need to disseminate, produce the bean seeds and disseminate and also popularize to a lot of farming community.
To disseminate the information. Okay, one technology that we can use, as I suggest, for example, we can disseminate this information through the media. Although most of the rural population, it is not comprised of the educated people, but by using the social media, like for example through the internet, we can display these varieties that are best, and also through the radios, we can spread this information. Since we are few and we cannot reach all the farmers one to one, we can use the social media to reach many within a short period of time.